Broadcast and start streaming. Let's see what we do. Then go to YouTube and see if it's actually working. Broadcast and start streaming. Let's see what we do. Alright, say something to see if your audio is picking up good. Then go to YouTube and see if it's actually working. There's a delay with the stream. Let's see what we do. Alright, say something to see if
Would it really be a stream if there wasn't some sort of delay?
Something. Okay, it's picking up. Yeah, it's
okay,
like,
cool.
I had to wait, because, like, you say something and the video says something like 30 seconds later. There's a delay with the stream. Alright, say something to see.
Would it really be a stream if there wasn't some sort of delay? Something.
Alright, I'm muting you, or muting the stream so I don't have to listen to myself, and then... Okay. Alright.
If you're getting it back with a delay, that's going to get annoying really quickly.
Oh, it is. It's, like, very confusing. So here you are. This is our farm. We are now farmers. I guess our goal is to just make money and plant parsnips today.
All right, sounds good. I remember this game mostly being like, clean everything off the ground. The game.
That's the first thing, and then it comes into like really intense time management where you're like trying to see how much you can get done in a day because your farm is this huge thing where you've got like 20 cows and chickens and fields about the size of a football field. But anyway, welcome to the stream, anybody who does happen to show up for the stream. We started a little bit early so we could test audio, and I'm here with Brianna Tibbetts. Bri, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm Brianna Tibbetts. I'm an author and writing instructor based in coastal North Carolina, and I have 2 books and 7 short stories, which are mostly fantasy and occasionally some other genres sprinkled in when I'm feeling creative.
Awesome. And how many books do you have out right now? You've got Head Over Tails, and then you've got The Knight in Battered Armor.
Battered Armor. Yeah. So just those 2 right now as far as books, and then I'm in 4 or 5 anthologies, I think. It's like now as soon as I start counting, I lose track. 2, 4, 5 anthologies.
Numbers
that sounds right. I know.
Like, do not ask me how many books I have written. I will lie to you unintentionally.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure your number has got to be what, north of 300?
Something like that. It will get there eventually. Every time
you're packing for like an event or something, I'm like, how are you deciding what to bring? There's so many.
Badly. That is how I'm deciding. I always get it wrong. Like, I'll bring 1 copy of a book and sell it immediately, and the one I bring 10 of sells nothing.
Yeah, that's because that's how you plan. That's how it goes. If you did the opposite, then the opposite would happen.
Yeah, and it's different at every event. Like, I've had 1 book sell really well, so I bring a lot of it next time, and then crickets on that book. Nobody wants it.
Yeah, that's just how that goes.
All right. It's such a cute little farm that we have here.
It's like, I think the only thing I actually know how to do is tackle all the tiny things on the ground, so I'm just running around doing that.
I will plant the parsnips. If you find any mixed seeds, we plant those too.
Oh, I also have parsnip seeds.
Yeah, you use your hoe to make... Yeah, you can use your hoe to make the ground plantable.
Aha. Okay, so that's why this patch is brown instead of yellow.
Yes. There we go.
What is the... So they all look the same except for this one right here. Why is that only 1 dot instead of 3?
Because I use the mixed seeds that I got. If you when you're harvesting plants, or not plants, like clearing weeds, sometimes they'll drop mixed seeds, and you can plant those.
Okay.
It'll be a random seed.
And does that just grow something random, or is there something in particular that mixed seeds create?
It's random. It's any seasonal seed, and it's kind of like off the table of what there is for the game.
Interesting.
All right. So one thing I think of when I think about you is that you are somebody who's into a lot of fandoms. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I definitely, when I had, the typical like things I enjoyed growing up and stuff, but when I was in college, I got a friend turned me on to Tumblr. And that was kind of my introduction to like fandom culture and stuff. And that was something I enjoyed a lot, especially during that era. And so that's still, I think, been a part of my personality because it's all ultimately a love of stories, right? So
Yeah.
it all kind of plays into that.
Yeah, and I never was really active on Tumblr. I was kind of like that's that kind of there's a half step generation where I'm right before you, and then there's my girls generation after you, or and so it's like your stuff that there's stuff that you have that it's like that little one that I miss is because
Right. It
um
was like, because you're not that much older than me, but it's like just enough that we have a very different experience with the internet.
yeah, well, the internet changed so rapidly, like from
It did.
yeah, when I started was like 1999 versus just 2005. Like the amount of change, like smartphones weren't a thing when I started, really.
Right. And I like smartphones were my first two and a half cell phones were not smartphones because that wasn't common yet. Um, but yeah, no, I even when I was on Tumblr though, I was a little bit old for it because I was almost 19, I think, when I got Tumblr. And I would say that the majority of people I was following, even if I didn't realize it initially, the majority of people I was following were at least 2 to 3 years younger than I was, because that was kind of the target demographic for at least the fandom space at that point. I'm sure there were other people my age and older on there, but that didn't seem to be the majority of the interactions I was having.
Well, that was also a thing about early internet. It's like you were on there and you didn't know if you were talking to a 50-year-old man or a 12-year-old boy half the time. And some people were very good at
Right.
pretending what their age was not what it was.
Right. And I mean, there were aspects of that that I think were probably like for the better because you got to talk to a wider variety of people. And then there's also ways in which that was obviously super dangerous.
Oh
So,
yeah. So, of your fandoms, which one is your current like go-to?
oh, current goodness. I was like, I've been so bad recently about staying caught up with things. When I think about like the most the most recent thing I watched, I know like new holiday episodes of Bake Off just dropped, and that like doesn't feel like it counts, but I think that's one of the more recent things I've been paying attention to.
I feel like it
Um,
counts.
sure, it's definitely a subset of something. Um, I'm trying to think. So Wicked obviously is kind of like top of mind right now. I saw For Good on Monday. And that's the musical theater fandom really is I feel like what that falls into rather than kind of being its own category. Because yeah, I saw a lot of musical theater as a teenager while we were stationed overseas, and then as an adult, that's something I've maintained an interest in. So definitely feeling a lot of Wicked right now. Um, let's see, I've kind of always been in love with. It's been a little while since episodes have been on, but still this year, Doctor Who was on, and I am still a fan of Doctor Who, even when it drives me crazy sometimes. It's still a thing that I love. So that definitely has been somewhat current. There were new episodes as of this spring. So
Awesome. So come over this way. I gotta show you something.
okay.
This my chest. You can put stuff in there. Don't hit it with your pickaxe.
Yes, I keep forgetting the left and right click. I figured that out when I was messing around with it earlier. So I
All
can
right.
store fiber, wood, and stone.
Yeah, or whatever you want. I put those things in there because they'll be useful later.
Like this is a special tool that will help us later.
Yes, it's a mystery mouse cadoodle. All right. Now, if you go up to your cabin and you go into the bed, it will let you sleep for the night and regain energy.
Yeah, I figured that was probably coming up based on how dark it got.
All right. So we have successfully completed a Stardew Valley day. Yay, us.
Huzzah! But actually, it got dark a lot faster than I expected it to. That was kind of interesting.
A day is about 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad at all.
I
Oh,
have
I have a
milk.
letter. We just got a letter.
Oh no. That's like uh so I don't know if we want to that letter, it's probably the same one I got, is from Willie, who will teach you fishing. I don't think we probably want to do fishing today.
A lot
Every
of totally extra skill set.
Yeah, plus it's just kind of boring to watch on a stream.
That's fair.
So every game has fishing. I feel like that's the rule.
It totally does. I think you can even fish in like The Sims.
Probably. Oh, if you come down here, you can refill your watering pot. You just have to click it while standing next to a body of water, and it refills.
That's handy.
So
this is like our convenient little watering hole.
Yes. And so back to fandoms. Do you have any that have either really disappointed you or really surprised you?
I mean, just it's hard not to think of Doctor Who when I think about being disappointed, just because it's been a little bit of a mixed bag for a while now. I still love it and I still keep up with it. But I have a friend who's one of the only people I know that's also staying current. And we always touch base immediately after an episode airs to either go like, okay, that wasn't bad. There were these things we liked, or what was that? The finale in particular of this most recent season, we had I could do TED Talks on how chaotic and insane it was. And there were some things that they changed last minute that I think made it worse, but it was just a little bit of a dumpster fire. And it's funny because the head writer now used to be the head writer of the show and previously did a bunch of things that were, really great and really interesting. And since he's been back, has been doing mostly Chaos Goblin things that are not particularly well formed, and it's kind of disappointing. And the head writer before him is responsible for one of my favorite crime dramas, Broadchurch, which is phenomenal. But when he was in charge of Doctor Who, he was writing aggressively mediocre episodes, and it was like, what happened, man? I know you're capable of better than this. You've got an amazing cast, they're doing great work, and it's just not working out. So I love it and I still watch it, but it is frequently something that frustrates me a little bit these days.
Yeah. I fell off about midway through Capaldi, I think, and
he's my favorite.
Yeah, and I really liked his acting, but I felt like a lot of the stories he were given were kind of felt on the payoff, maybe?
I can see that, especially some of the one-off episodes as opposed to some of the ones that were built into the overall arc. It's been a little while since I've rewatched his stuff, so some of the episodes that I think people remember as being particularly rough of his, I don't really remember at all, because I haven't rewatched them recently enough to remember that they even existed.
Yeah, and it's all vibes for me because it was so long ago. Oh gosh, how long?
I don't remember when did Capaldi leave, because he was on for 3 seasons, give or take. When did he leave? My perception of time is really wonky, especially when you introduce COVID into the mix.
Would you say it's wibbly wobbly?
Yeah, I think that would be accurate to say.
Yeah, I feel like the last 5 years have been both really just a blink and really forever. I
was talking just last night to a friend I was listening to a podcast about it was an interview with somebody, and I was thinking back on the situation that this guest was talking about, and I was like, yeah, that was it's been a few years, but I think based on the timeline she was talking about, it must have been longer than I think it was. And my friend was like, oh, well, I remember it happened when I was at this job, which means it was 2016. And I was like, what? No, there's no way that happened almost a decade ago. Very much. It wasn't that I didn't believe her. It was just that you get past about 2019 and all of that time feels compressed to a single year somehow when I'm thinking back in my memory. So yeah, time math got really hard right around the 2019, 2020 mark.
All right. Yeah. I should take you into town, give you a tour.
Ooh, there's a town.
Yes. I don't
know if I got as far as town when I played this before, so.
You think it's a town?
I'm okay. Oh, there you are.
Follow me if you want to live.
If you don't want to get stuck between all of the brush and briars and things.
So was Head Over Tail? No, the Battered Knight was your first publication, or did you have a short story out before?
It was. I had one short story before that, but yeah, Knight in Battered Armor was my first book. So the short story Gilded Finality, which eventually came out in an anthology from Havoc, that was originally published on their site in February of 2019, roughly, and then Knight in Battered Armor was published in March or May. That book birthday, I always get confused. It was sometime in the spring, but yeah. So Gilded Finality came out first on Havoc's website, and then Knight in Battered Armor was a few months later.
Gotcha. You can pick that leek, and then if you want to, you can eat it, and it will give you more energy.
I apparently have filled up my inventory with lots of things. I managed to find mixed seeds, which I didn't realize, clay, and coal.
So we can either sell those or you can put them in the chest. Here, follow me
Are there
again.
things? I know the mixed seeds you mentioned wanting. Is there? What would we use coal for?
There's a couple of crafting recipes that you can use coal for. Probably nothing we're going to need anytime soon.
I'll just throw all this stuff in here for now and figure out what to do with it later.
Yes. And this is the sell chest. If you put something in there, you get money for it.
Oh, that's right, because somebody comes back and picks it up overnight or something.
Yep.
I remember that from the game intro. All right, second. It's a leak. There's a leak in my inventory.
Oh no. There's a dandelion up here. What were we talking about? We're talking about first location. So, what are you working on now?
I just finished another new adult contemporary romantasy, which is what Head Over Tails is. So I finished it in June, and then I did an editorial pass, which took way longer than it should have. And then I actually sent it off to my editor. So right now it's her problem. But I'm expecting to get that back from her at some point in the next few weeks, probably. And then once I have an edit letter, I'll go over that and try and get it into querying shape.
Awesome. And is that so? Do you consider that in the same world as Head Over Tails, just because it's both contemporary, or is it its own thing?
No, it's its own thing. I mean, there's not necessarily a reason why it can't exist in the same world, I guess. Although Head Over Tails is a world that's pretty much exactly like ours, except there happen to be mermaids. And this one I just finished is a contemporary world, but there's like a light magic element through things. So like you could have like magic infused hairspray or a pot that magically stirs itself, stuff like that. So there's like little specks of magic throughout everything, but there's not like, big magic epic battles happening. And it's otherwise set in contemporary Vancouver.
Awesome.
Vancouver, Canada, not Washington.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick Vancouver, Canada?
So part of the premise relies upon like the film industry, and I find Vancouver, Canada, to be kind of a more interesting and romantic city than Los Angeles.
Gotcha.
And there's quite a bit of filming that happens there. So I had gone up. I mean, like obviously, sometimes I would go head up that direction for work, and so if I had to go up there anyway, I would be like, well, I'll go up and work on a Friday, and then I'll pop into Canada for a day on Saturday and just drive back that night. So I used to spend like a fair bit of anytime I could get away with it, I would spend some time up there, and it's just a really interesting city. There's lots of cool things there, so I thought that was a neat setting for that particular story idea.
It's nice when you can go to a location. Like with my superhero series, it's set in modern America, and
Right.
I'm always looking for new cities to set superhero teams in. I try to do the ones that I've actually been to, but then I start running out.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, when I wrote Head Over Tails, like I said, it was based pretty heavily on areas I had been to physically on the Big Island in Hawaii, but I hadn't been back since I was in like middle school, so it had been a while. So I spent a significant amount of time on Google Maps and Google Earth, just kind of reminding myself of the layout and making sure that if I referenced, Jacob going into town or something, that he was spending enough time in the car to get from point A to point B, and that like all of it was logical because I knew like it would drive me nuts, and it would drive somebody who actually lived there nuts if the timing was like dramatically off. So I probably spent more time on Google than I needed to, just making sure those details were right.
Google Maps was like my thorn in my side. Plus, it was both my best friend and my worst enemy when I was trying to do Supervillain's Bodyguard, because it's a road trip story, and I was on Google Maps like every other paragraph. I was like, well, would they be in Kansas? And it was so much work.
I drove through Kansas when I moved earlier this year, and it's a whole lot of nothing for a really, really long time.
Anyone who lives in Kansas probably hates me now because I made fun of that state hard.
Yeah, I mean, we stopped in Kansas overnight on my way to the coast, and the city we stopped in was actually pretty nice. The city itself was great, but the process of driving through the state was so boring.
I know it is very much that, and like I've driven across the country once. I've driven from San Diego to Oregon quite a few times.
Okay,
that
yeah.
also has some really really boring stretches.
Well, and also you have to be on I-5 the whole time,
Which is nice if you're like me and really hate navigating.
Well, that's fair, but it's still I-5. Ugh.
Yeah, especially the sections with the cows.
Yeah, I never got. I've been on sections of I-5 in all three states, but I've never done a road trip between them.
Yeah, I almost got my commute. I missed the cows, but I get into work on for my day job, and I get in, and there is this news story because part of my job is like collecting news stories for City Hall. Anyway, so
Right.
I get in, and there's this news stories about how the cows were all over the freeway, and I'm like, well, that was my commute. I must have just missed them.
We had something in town recently because I live in a much smaller area than I used to. There was somebody like there were multiple news stories, and somebody at my like church small group showed me a video of they were like giant like farm hogs. And they had it wasn't clear if they had like fallen out of a moving vehicle or if they had escaped from a farm, but they were just like sitting in the middle of the highway and just making an obstacle of themselves.
Yeah,
And it was big news in the area.
so you've got would you call Head Over Tails young adult or more new adult?
So it was originally published as young adult, but Savencia is about 18 and Jacob is 19. And so I had always, and originally the very first draft of that book, they were both a lot older. She was like 23 and he was 25. And I had him as a college graduate instead of a high school graduate, who was like trying to figure out his life. So I had initially aged it down to publish it as YA, but I wanted them to be a little bit older. And so I left their ages like kind of right at that cusp for upper YA. And it's a sweet romance, which I think makes some people read it a little bit, read down a little bit, because sometimes people assume if something is sweet and not particularly like, you know, dark or gritty, that it means it's for a younger audience. But yeah, when Uncommon Universes closed and I got the rights back, and I was debating what to do with it, which I eventually obviously released the ebook, so the ebook is out there. I made the decision to strip the young adult like labeling off of it, mostly because everything I had written since that book had come out, my characters had been more like in that college age and like early career stage, and so I figured that was probably going to be more the direction I continued heading in terms of what I was writing. And so I thought just overall it made more sense to me to have it not explicitly labeled as YA. It's certainly appropriate for teenagers, but yeah, generally speaking, it's just it fits kind of into that new adult space because it's got YA pacing, but it's not explicitly about, you know, what you would expect for a young adult protagonist. So
Yeah, I get that problem too with a lot of my stuff. It's like they'll people say, "Well, this is for kids, right?" And I'm like, "Not really. The lead characters are 34 and 27." And it's
yeah,
like, but if it's even like basically clean or a little bit on the like, I don't know. It's not so much dark versus light. It's kind of that like fun versus like I don't know. I tend to write a lot of popcorn stuff. I guess would be the way I would describe it.
yeah, totally.
So I think people get that impression. I'm like, no, it's not for kids. I mean, you could give most of my stuff to a teen, but
Yeah.
that's not the purpose of it.
And like with Head Over Tails, when I would be at events and selling it, I would sometimes have parents asking me if it was appropriate for their child. And I was like, you are the one who needs to exercise discernment there. I can't answer that question for you. I don't know your kid. But if they were over about like, 12ish or so, because, younger than 12 and 13, I feel weird being like, you should read a romance novel, even if it's the sweetest romance out there. But if they were talking about a kid that was like 12, 13ish, usually what the parent was asking me was whether or not there were any open door scenes. And so I would just say, the only horizontal activity is swimming.
Nice.
Because right, because the kid didn't usually track with that, or if they did, like it took them a second, and the parent always got it immediately and was like, "Yep, that is the question I was asking," and I was like, "Yeah, I figured." So that's what I started saying because it was just an easy way to answer the question they were asking without turning it into a whole thing.
Yeah, and a lot of adults prefer to read fairly clean now. Like it is a market, and I don't know. I always tell people, well, it's a kissing book, and if there's like are they going to be okay if it being a kissing book?
Right.
Sometimes they
So,
are, sometimes they're not.
in terms of game mechanics, when it's raining, does that mean that you don't have to water anything?
Yes, I love rainy days.
Awesome. So you have a fancier axe than I do, and you can just knock stuff over.
Uh, should be the same axe at this level.
I tried to attack. Yeah, my axe isn't strong enough to break the stump
So there's okay. So the
or
those
the tree.
particular yeah
Okay.
the
I was like, I'm just trying to. I tried attacking a couple things earlier and it wouldn't let me, so I just assumed I couldn't take down the trees. But it's shaking, so
yeah it's the big stumps and the big logs are hardwood, which is another resource which you can't get until you upgrade to the copper axe or the gold axe. I forget which.
okay. So, I don't know why that immediately makes me think of like RuneScape.
It's probably like all these things have like shared uh, lore. It's like health potions being read, you know.
Yeah.
That said, so Head Over Tails is not necessarily for younger readers, but you would Battered Knight by Knight in Battered Armor is. Do you have a different like vibe you do when you're writing for younger versus older?
So that was kind of an interesting case because when I had the idea, I immediately knew that it was like a kid's book, and I was thinking in terms of like there was kind of a wave of sort of fantasy themed like lessons about I'm trying to think how I would quantify it. Like lessons about like respecting yourself and respecting others um, and autonomy sometimes. Like there was a wave of like kind of fantasy allegory like children's books when I was a kid that were very popular. And so I was kind of thinking in that vein, something that was sort of like a spiritual successor to some of those books that were like a way of teaching a lesson, but they were like, fantastical and there were princesses and monsters and whatever else. But I wanted something like that was like slightly older. I didn't want a straight up picture book because the story I had in mind was going to be longer than that anyway. But the reason I illustrated it was because in my head, a children's book was illustrated. And I had a friend at the time who was a very good illustrator. And she had been sitting next to me when I had the idea because I was at church and a pastor said something that gave me an idea. And so I pulled a notebook out of my purse and I started like jotting it down so I didn't forget. And so because she was sitting next to me when that happened, I ended up texting her and I was like, "Hey, do you have any interest in illustrating a children's book?" And so that's kind of how that came about. So it's a chapter book. It's like 10 chapters and an epilogue, I think. But it's got full page illustrations. There's a couple of spreads, and the rest are individual pages, and that's relatively unusual for a chapter book. And so I usually, when people are like, "Oh, what age is this for?" I usually say it's an all ages fairy tale, because kind of my hope too was that kids who were reading on their own would read it by themselves, and kids who mom and dad are reading to before they go to bed, they would be able to enjoy it as well because mom and dad could read a couple chapters every night, and that could be like a thing they look forward to as a family. That was kind of the vibe.
That's cool.
But yeah, I haven't necessarily had any other ideas come to me specifically for children's books, other than I had a random middle grade idea pop into my head like a year ago that I wrote down. So I might get to that someday. But yeah, I didn't set out to write children's particularly. I had that one idea and I knew immediately that it was a kid's book and that was the direction I was headed with it. So
Yeah, and I like writing for middle grade. I think middle grade is a fun zone because you can play with like some of the more whimsical and fun aspects and like for kids, but at the same time you don't necessarily have to moderate your vocabulary as much as if you're writing for early chapter books or picture books.
So that's always a funny story for me about writing Knight in Battered Armor. My first draft. Are you familiar with the Hemingway app?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so like I used to use Hemingway a lot because it would flag like repeated words and stuff, and so it was handy for like trimming down word count. And so I had done like a very first initial draft of Knight in Battered Armor, and I had put it into Hemingway. And one of the things Hemingway will do is tell you what reading level your writing is at. So like what kind of education level your reader would need to have in order to track with the book. And it initially came back as saying that they would need a college level education to read Knight in Battered Armor. And I was like, oh, well, that's not good. So that went through quite a bit of tweaking because my initial draft where I wasn't thinking about vocabulary ended up being a little too formal. That's probably the problem. But at one point, I had sent the text of where it was at to my illustrator. And she got back to me a couple days later and was like, so I got to the end. There's this one word, resplendent. What does that mean? And I was like, fine, I'll take it out. Because I figured if my 20-something year old illustrator didn't know what that meant, I probably couldn't expect a second grader to know.
That's fair. Though sometimes it's fun to have those vocabulary words, especially for younger readers. Like you can do the
Yeah.
yeah, if you're being all lemony snicket about it.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that I left in, but for the most part, I was like, I'm not gonna try and like throw in things that seem like, oh, I was reaching for an SAT word, because usually it's just because that's the word that occurred to me, not for any particular like snooty reason. But I know sometimes it reads that way, so I wanted to avoid that.
Where I usually trip up my readers is because I tend to have like this really broad slang vocabulary, which gets me in
Yeah,
trouble because I have teenage daughters. Plus, then I am 40, so I've got Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z and Gen Alpha slang in all
yeah.
my in my pocket, and it comes out with no regard for anything.
The Gen Alpha slang, I cannot. I like even the stuff I know how to say, like I cannot track with, and I know better than to try and say it because it's going to make me sound older, not younger.
The thing about
um,
Yeah, this is what I've learned about Gen Alpha slang is they know it's cringe and they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, that's true. I don't spend a lot of time around a lot of the Gen Alpha types. Oh, apparently I have worn my character out.
Oh no!
Apparently I passed out. I didn't know that was an option.
Ah, yeah, you got to watch your energy level. Was it like giving you?
I don't even know. Do I have energy levels? Oh, I see the bar now. I'm still labeled as exhausted, so maybe I'm gonna put some stuff away and then try and go back to bed.
If you grab a couple of food items out of the chest and eat them, it'll bring your energy back up.
Okay, let's see here.
I tried to give you a
So,
dandelion to eat, but your inventory was full.
oh, yeah, it is. Here, let me drop some stuff off. I didn't know I could eat dandelions.
Yeah, they're 25
Oh,
energy.
I came across a lot of sap, apparently. I have a maple seed. Cool. Okay. Okay. Now I have open space. Yes,
There, you can
except
eat
the
the
dandelion.
dandelion. Then you click on it and it should ask you if you want to eat it.
Click on it, it acts like I can plant it. It's not asking me anything.
Well, click on yourself while you're holding it over your head.
There we go. Okay, right click on myself. There we go.
Yay, we now have energy. I think there's more stuff to eat in there too. Oh, you still have parsnips.
I do.
This is a good day to
That's
plant
what I
them
was
because you
like.
don't have to water them.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. That's what I was trying to do. I was like, oh, I'm in a house, so I can plant stuff. And then I passed out.
Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't. I saw that there was a little thing on the side, and I just fully didn't clock that that's what it was for. So okay, now I'm out of seeds.
Yep. Let me take you to the bar.
The bar.
Well, it's a tavern. It's like, here, follow me. Hmm. So, is your goal with this upcoming one an agent? Is it a publisher, or are you thinking about indie?
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start out looking for an agent. I've so far ended up with small press pretty much across the board, but and like obviously had the little bit of indie experience with re-releasing the ebook of Head Over Tails when I got the rights back. But I've always wanted to go traditional. So and I have a couple of editors and agents who have um, requested that I submit the manuscript once it was done. So I have kind of a list of people to send it to, just to start out.
That's
I
a good
keep
list.
accidentally clicking on the bartender. There we go. Drink beer. There we go. It's so hard to drink beer. Yeah. No. Anyway, so I've always wanted to go traditional. So I'm gonna submit to the people who have already asked for it, and then do some more research, see who I can find. That's a good fit. I think it's a very marketable book, this one, and so I have hopes of being able to go traditional with it. Because ideally, like I would totally be open to doing something a little bit hybrid one day, where I have some things that are indie and some things that are traditional. Especially if I have an idea that's maybe a little bit more off the wall, because I think that that's where indie tends to really shine, is the spots where there's not necessarily as obvious of a traditional market. So So I like the idea of being able to kind of like play in both worlds. But especially for now, I'm wanting to at least try to go the traditional route.
Gotcha. And beyond contemporary romantasy with magical hairspray, can you tell us anything else about it?
So this particular one is 10 Things I Hate About You meets Inkheart.
Ah.
So there's sort of a fake dating element and boys in books are better than real boys kind of vibe. And there's sort of a magical element where she thinks he's the main character of her favorite book, but he's actually the actor playing that character in the movie.
Gotcha. Does he know she thinks he's the character and he's playing along, or do we get to?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's a fake. It's so for him. It's a fake dating scenario, and she's the one being conned. So there's a whole kind of like long backstory for that. But yeah. So basically, it's got the fake dating elements of 10 Things I Hate About You, and they're trying to like. Also, they're trying to like sort of teach her a lesson, but like it's coming from a good place, except it's really also heavily focused on the idea of imagining other people complexly. Like both of them are in a place where they're doing the other a disservice, and they're learning as they develop in this relationship, even though they're coming at it from different angles, that they're not being fair to each other. Because she's very much over romanticizing him, and he has a very kind of shallow view of her because she's sort of a typical like bookish fangirl. And so it's in like learning to value each other and imagine each other as complex human beings, because that's what we are. That's the thing that kind of allows them to grow and ultimately come back together in a healthy way.
See, I like that when you can take something like I feel like we kind of go there. There's two sides to romantic fantasy partnerships. One of them is like the red flag culture where it's like they like the guys who are really not healthy, and then the other is like we demand this absolute perfection from book characters, or we start getting
Right.
Oh, they're problematic.
Yes. Yeah. It's either I want a love interest that is all the things I would never in a million years tolerate in real life, because that's the fantasy of it, or the idea of the perfect person who's completely unattainable. And sometimes if you play your cards right, you get both.
Yeah, exactly.
They're somehow perfect and absolutely awful.
Yeah, and I like that because like I feel like we don't the three-dimensionalist of people is you have to give room for that human weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody, like we teach, one of the things I do for work is I'm a writing instructor for high school students, and one of the things we talk about with them is that every character is making decisions, at least initially, off of a lie they believe. There's something that they believe that is incorrect, and there's a reason. There's some experience they have in their life that has led them to believe that lie, and part of this trajectory of your story is them like the decisions that send them down the wrong road start making them entertain the idea of the truth. And there might be another character in there as well who's speaking the truth into their life, and it's when they make the choices to embrace that truth that they start to grow as a character.
Yeah, and I like dealing with that complexity a lot. I think that's gotten me a little bit in trouble with some of my sweet romance people sometimes, because I do write a lot of rom-coms, and there's kind of like that expectation of absolute perfection, but I'm like, yeah, that's not happening here.
Well, that's not I can kind of understand. I think it's one of those things that people think they want that, but if they read a book where the characters were objectively perfect, it would just be annoying. Like, do you remember the Elsie Dinsmore books?
I vaguely knew them. They were not a big part of my childhood the way they were for some people.
Yeah, I was like, there was a different series that was kind of in that same vein that I liked more, but I remember reading some of the Elsie Dinsmore books when I was little, and she's portrayed as like a very perfect character, and it's super annoying because nobody wants to read about a very perfect character. It just makes her seem really obnoxious.
Yeah, I think the important thing is especially growth. Like, I was very much into House for a very long time, but that series got super old because they could not let him grow past a point. And every time he learned a lesson, he would default back to old ways within half a season.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the challenge with anything that sort of because that show's basically a Sherlock Holmes adaptation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the challenges you have with something like I adore Sherlock Holmes, but he's very like Sherlock Holmes is very much a static character by nature. There's not a lot of growth in the serials of stories with him, and they're all being narrated. Like really are the character that we're following that has a growth trajectory, bizarre as it may be, because Arthur Conan Doyle didn't care about continuity, is Watson. So we don't really see much growth for Sherlock. But when you're talking about a modern storytelling context, that's not usually what your audience is looking for. They want to see their characters grow.
Yeah, and I think it's different when like in the originals it was like these weekly serials in a newspaper. It was almost more like a comic strip would be the like
Yeah.
be that is like in the level of growth where you would have on it. There's some like I think with modern TV is you do want to see that growth pattern, and that's not something that was necessarily a thing until recently.
Yeah. And there's definitely still some shows out there where like the characters being somewhat static is part of the appeal. I think there's some procedurals that lean a little bit that direction, but even the ones that do, there's still an element of growth because in some cases they've just been on so long that if they didn't grow at all, then from like I'm thinking of things like Law and Order, right, where they've been on since the 90s, and if they don't evolve and grow a little bit as characters, then if they're behaving the same way in 2025 that they were in 1994, then that's going to really bother some audiences because some of the things they were doing in the 90s, we don't portray characters like that doing on TV anymore. And there's been a lot of evolution in how we tell stories too. So even the things where shows like that tend to be a little bit more inherently static, we still see evolution in.
Yeah, and I like that overall, especially if you're doing something that's going to go for a bunch of seasons. I don't know. I think there should be like almost a limit to like some shows. I'm like, shows should not be able to vote and drink, if that makes sense. If you're hitting 18, 21, like, I'm sorry, but you need to retire.
Right. It's one thing if it's like, some kind of reality series or something. Like I think about my mother and I watch America's Got Talent together, and that just had its 20th season. And that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing where like that being on for a long time makes sense. You get a lot of variety every season. It's all about showcasing different people's talents. That's kind of an evergreen concept. That doesn't really go away. But then, yeah, something that's like a more serialized drama, you kind of wear that well pretty dry by, it just doesn't take very long. I can think of things I watched that were significantly shorter than that came up with all sorts of bonkers ideas where I was like, okay, you have lost the plot significantly, and they didn't get anywhere near old enough to vote and drink.
Yeah, and I appreciate a show that can have that like really good open and shut sort of like arc over, let's say,
Yeah.
5 to 6 seasons. One of my favorites that did that was Fringe. I think Fringe actually has a really good series arc.
I need to finish Fringe. One of my best friends got me started on it, and I got as far as the season where Olivia gets swapped. It was like a season finale where she gets swapped with her doppelganger. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate this. I was pretty confident I was not going to enjoy that story arc, and so I was like, I'm gonna take a break before I dive into this, and then I just never went back to it. So I do need to finish it because I think, what am I in, like season 3 or something? I was really enjoying it. There were elements of it I liked a lot, but yeah, I was just a little bit nervous about the plot arc for that season.
I will say that and Grimm were the two shows that made me and Matt promise each other that if we ever accidentally cheat with the other person's evil twin, we will forgive each other because they can't really blame him.
Grimm's the other one I need to finish. I got as far as the evil blonde lady was pregnant. That's about where I stopped. And I didn't stop on purpose. It was more like I got to an episode and then I had kind of took a break, and for some reason I just never picked it back up. I was really enjoying it. I just didn't finish it. So that's another one that I need to get to the end of, because Grimm in particular was funny because the friend who started me on it was like, how have you not already watched this? This is like all of the like conglomeration of elements that make it a perfect show for you. And I was like, I don't know, it's just never really been on my radar. And I watched the first episode and I was like, oh my goodness, how have I never watched this?
Grimm is really good. I will say they rushed the ending. They got like a half season to finish everything up, and they had so many hanging plot threads.
That's a shame.
Yeah, the last season is super messy. I still think it's worth it from the beginning, and like I would say the last 30 seconds to 2 minutes of the season of the series finale is really good, because they did something there that I won't spoil for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna finish it at some point because I was genuinely enjoying it. I'm gonna steal. You have a field snack in the chest. Can I steal that? Because I'm about to pass out again somehow.
Yeah, don't die.
I'm apparently very bad at this. I'm apparently very bad at this. Keeping myself alive while working the field thing.
You would not have lasted in medieval Europe.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, no, when you talk about like rushed endings, I mean, immediately makes me think of, and again, I don't think this was really their fault. Did you ever watch Dollhouse?
No, I haven't, but I'm aware of it.
I love Dollhouse. It's only 2 seasons, and I think my impression, because I didn't see it until years after the fact, my impression was that I think they knew that they were being canceled or that season 2 was their final season, and so they were given that basically the ability to wrap everything up as tightly as they could, and so they took like what I think was originally a plan for like a 5-season arc, and they did their best to wrap it up within that final second season, and knowing that, it's pretty solid, but it is pretty clear that there was like years worth of content that got smushed. And it's a shame because it's a really interesting premise that they could have explored for a long time. I think it just wasn't hitting ratings the way that the network wanted it to. So it died. Only got 2 seasons.
That's disappointing too. I hate that. And like, actually, follow me. I will take you to the beach.
Oh, cool. All right. I keep accidentally opening my not my inventory, all of my settings, I guess. Like I didn't hit escape, I hit something else and it opened the wrong menu. I'm like, you've frozen me in place.
So we both kind of had this experience, but I was an indie before it happened and it was fresh for you, but like being with a publisher and then having to start over indie, like you've had to go through that really recently.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where I wasn't particularly like, like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this or, something like that. I've had friends who've gone through that situation where it was much more traumatic than what we had. But yeah, it was definitely something where I was like, well, what do I do now? And because I got the rights back to Head Over Tails like pretty quickly. Like I mean, you remember they jumped through a lot of hoops for us that they were not obligated to do, in terms of like the files they gave us back and stuff. And like I had the opportunity to buy back my cover, so I did that. Mostly because I was like, I have no idea what I would do if I didn't have the cover I have. So if I can buy it, I'm just gonna take it. But yeah, so they bent over backwards to kind of make things as easy for us as possible, which was very much appreciated. And I think I have more awareness of how much work that was now, knowing people who have gone through something similar where they didn't get nearly as much kind of grace from their situation. But yeah, like I got my rights back that summer, I think, and then I just kind of sat on them for months because I was like, I don't really feel like I have the resources to like really put the push behind this that I would want to if I was like re-releasing the book. And I knew some people who jumped right on that. But I also didn't want it to just not be out there at all. And I had gone on a retreat that year, I think, in like September or October, and in kind of just talking to people there and sort of discussing the ramifications of different things. I was like, it's not going to hurt anything if I make the ebook available. And if I make the ebook available, I can put it on Kindle Unlimited. And a lot of Kindle Unlimited readers are romance readers. They devour romance. It's a romance. So there's not really a good reason to not have it in KU. And then it'll be accessible that way. And then I have all the resources. If I ever decide that I want to put the paperback back out, that would be a couple clicks. I could do that too. But that gave me a little bit more of a buffer to decide how I wanted to do that. Because I didn't want to just click a few buttons and have it back out there. I wanted to put some kind of effort behind it. I don't know exactly what that would look like for me, but I wanted there to be some kind of big push and effort behind re-releasing it. And so putting it back out digitally was the thing that I felt like I could do well without having to jump through extra hoops. And so I re-released it on what would have been the book's, I think, second publication birthday, which was that November. So I had like a month to kind of get all my ducks in a row and figure out what I was doing. And so on what would have been its original publication anniversary, so that it had the same pub date, because I decided that mattered for some reason. I re-released it digitally and put it out in Kindle Unlimited. And I've done some different promos with that, and that's gone pretty well. So I'm happy with it being there in that sense, because it's still like that. It's still a part of my history that I can point people to. But I kind of have a little bit of a half a thought in the back of my head about if I'm able to release something moving forward that does well enough, then there would be kind of a bigger push behind me to help put the paperback back out in the world. Because there would be a bigger draw for it, like a bigger audience potentially, and maybe even people actually asking for it, rather than it just, because right now nobody's really banging down the door going like, you need to have your paperback back out in the world. So I can see a future where that might be the case, but right now it's not necessarily, and that's okay.
Come over here and click on the trash can.
Right click or left click?
Right.
Right. Oh, I need to get closer to it.
You can forage in the trash if you want to.
Yeah, this person background.
All right, we better head back or we're going to go pass out. Run for your lives.
Why is the ground red in some sections?
I think it's supposed to be dirt.
Because it sort of looks like lava. And I know it's not, but it kind of looks a little bit intense.
Yeah, that's the night vision stuff. It's brown in the day. Oh no, we're out of time.
Okay.
If you're out at 2 a.m., you pass out and then somebody robs you.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
When I play with Claire, she will put stuff in front of my door, like move furniture so I can't get into my house.
Oh no. That's just mean.
So last time I played this with Claire, she waited to the Spring Festival, which is like this event that's a thing, and she went to the vendor and spent all our money on a giant rabbit plush decoration. And then she kept putting it in front of my door. So your first like head over tails is like mermaids. Are you a big mermaid fan? Is that your favorite mythical creature?
Not necessarily. The reason I went with that, so I don't actually know if you've heard this story before. So Head Over Tails started out as a school assignment when I was in college. So I had been assigned. I'm trying to get this letter. Okay. I had been assigned to write a. I think I was supposed to write a short story exploring two genres I had never written in before. And so I decided to write a romantic tragedy, because at that point I was not experienced in writing romance, and I had never written anything that I thought qualified as a tragedy. So that's what I decided to shoot for. And I had the initial idea pretty quick of, a character who is sort of not really moving forward with their life and is kind of stuck and is worried about, getting the same illness their dad has, and there being an element of, hallucinations to that, et cetera. And I knew I wanted him on the beach because there was a specific property we had stayed at in Hawaii when I was a kid that I just thought was super interesting. And I had always wanted to do something with that. And so that was kind of what I was running with. And so because I was thinking about this kind of character at a beach, I was like, okay, well, who could he fall in love with that would make him question his own sanity? And I mean, if you're at a beach, the obvious answer is mermaid. And I had always liked mermaids, more so I think in terms of because there's a lot of interesting variations. You either have like super cutesy mermaids that are very like, something that little kids enjoy, where they're very pretty and shiny, and like there's lots of there can be lots of cool world building things, and it's all about the sparkle and the magic and the whimsy. And then there's the version where they're really aggressive and they have sharp teeth and they lure men to their deaths and all of that. And so I liked the versatility of mermaids as like a plot device. But yeah, mostly it was just that I had the idea for who Jacob was, and I thought that a mermaid made the most sense for him to kind of confront and go like, okay, well, what do I do now? And so in the original short story, they meet, they start falling for each other, excuse me. He's able to go underwater because of her abilities. And then she's like, well, I was able to bring him underwater. Now I want to go. I want to go on land. And so she goes to try and find a way to get legs, because it's a merfolk world where there's lots of different kinds of magic. So she goes to figure that out, but she thinks it's just going to take like a couple hours, and so she doesn't tell him she's going to do that. And his reaction to her absence, because it ends up taking a few days, is, oh, I must have imagined her the whole time. And so that made it into the novel version as well. But in the original short story, that's where it ended. And so the story ends with her getting on the beach and he's not there anymore. And so now she's human, but on her own. And that was the romantic tragedy of it. And then I polished it into a slightly stronger short story, threw it up on Amazon without any idea what I was doing, because this was years and years ago. And my grandmother found it at one point, and read through it and was furious with me for it not having a proper ending, and wanted resolution for Jacob and Savencia. And so that's what eventually led me to, I did it as a NaNoWriMo project originally, RIP NaNoWriMo, and then I polished it from there until it became Head Over Tails and released in 23.
Yeah, and I remember, I think now that you say that, I remember something about you saying it's like Romeo and Juliet was the original concept.
So my unhinged pitch used to be The Little Mermaid meets Romeo and Juliet, but everybody's over to the age of consent and no one dies.
So he took out yeah.
So, I mean, that was kind of the thing, because that's more vibes. It's not a real Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it's not even a Little Mermaid retelling, but there's tropes from both of those things that kind of have a little bit of play in the story. And so I thought, I used to use that when I was querying, partially because I thought it was a good indicator of my sense of humor as well, which is important when you're querying for, them to get a sense of who you are as an author. But it also represented the vibes of that story. So I still say that sometimes because I think it's funny, but my elevator pitch for that book is boy meets girl, but boy has a family history of hallucinations and girl is a mermaid.
It is so weird what can work for an elevator pitch. I remember one time I was, this is more about in-person sales than it is about, pitching to like a thing, but I was, at Rose City Comic Con, I was trying to convince somebody about Heart of the Curiosity, and they seemed mildly interested in it. And the thing that won them over was mentioning that the device in the middle was from her grandmother's soul. And that there was a dead grandmother's soul in the middle of the theater was like the clincher for them. I'm like, you never know what's going to be that thing.
That's so funny. I don't even remember that. I read Heart of the Curiosity. I don't even remember that part. I do remember at one point you were, I don't know if you still use this, you were pitching it as The Greatest Showman meets National Treasure.
Yeah, I did that.
I was like, that is the greatest, like, kind of high-level pitch. Like, that told me so many things about it. It was so much fun. I also really like, I don't know if you've read Nova McBee's Calculated. She pitches as Count of Monte Cristo meets Mission Impossible. It's like sometimes those kinds of comp pitches are like just so attention-grabbing. So I'm always really curious how people frame their work.
And I like them too. I think that they are very good shorthand. I've had some people who really hate them. They're like, well, but it isn't that thing. And I'm like, well, not exactly. We're working on vibes here.
Vibes. It's 100% vibes. Nobody, like, I don't expect to open, a book that you've told me has National Treasure vibes and find out that your main character is basically Nicolas Cage. That would actually surprise me if that was the case.
No, but I think more of us should put Nicolas Cage into our books.
That would be chaos gremlin energy.
Yeah, there's just some things. It's like, Claire has a thing for Nicolas Cage. She'll just randomly come to me and say, I'm Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, what are you doing? That's probably a Gen Alpha thing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's such a character. I think that kind of memeing him to one degree or another has been a thing from multiple generations in a row now.
Though I think he's in on it. He's one of the actors who I think is aware of who they are.
Yeah, wasn't he in a movie where like he was playing himself?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, and it was all about how much somebody was like in love with him and wanted to like have him as part of their collection or something.
Yes, and I haven't seen that yet, but I kind of want to, but just because it's just so bizarre.
That was how I felt too. It's very much one of those like there's only a handful of actors that I think you could get away with that sort of premise, and he's definitely one of them.
And
where like even if you've never seen him in anything, you know who he is. I think Jim Carrey's also one like that, where like he's very much kind of known for who he is just as much as for his movies.
The thing is, I have a very strong respect for Jim Carrey just because he's somewhat retired, but he comes back for Sonic.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, I was talking to a friend because I just recently watched The Truman Show. It had been on my list for forever, and I finally watched it. And I really, really enjoyed it. But I was trying to think back to what I had seen Jim Carrey in because I feel like I've been aware of him forever. And I looked back through his IMDb, and I've seen him in maybe two things ever. Like just because the majority of his movies have not really been things that were on my watch list particularly. So like I saw Christmas Carol and I saw Horton Hears a Who. That was pretty much it.
Those are too bizarre. Like if I had to pick like fundamental Jim Carrey movies, those would not be like on my top 20.
Not at all. Even like if you asked me to name Jim Carrey movies, I wouldn't have even remembered he was in either of those.
Yeah, so I remember I had like one of those moments when I was a teen girl where Jim Carrey was the goofy guy from Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched The Majestic, in which he plays a very convincing romantic lead, and it just confused the heck out of me.
It's always kind of funny to see movies where an actor who very much has a specific reputation is doing something completely new and different.
I know, and I was like, he's actually an attractive man. How did I not know that Jim Carrey was an attractive man?
Yeah, I remember it was kind of interesting. Like this is slightly different, but Ryan Gosling has historically been like the romantic lead and blah blah blah. He's the other one that like I was aware of him, but I really hadn't seen him in anything at any point. And then I saw him in La La Land, and I really liked him in that movie. And for some reason, right after La La Land, he just had like a string of movies he was in that were all things I wanted to see. And so I started seeing him in a lot of things. And I had always been completely ambivalent about him. And all of a sudden I was like, man, he's such a good actor. And he's like in all of these really interesting stories and he's got all this different range. And so all of a sudden I was a Ryan Gosling fan as if he hadn't been for years. He just wasn't on my radar that way because I wasn't seeing him in things. He was in, romance movies that I was not going out of my way to watch. And because a lot of like, it's very hit or miss whether or not I see a rom-com. And a lot of the really famous ones came out when I was just young enough that they weren't appropriate when they released. And then by the time I got older, like I don't usually watch movies alone. So if a friend of mine's not like, hey, let's watch this movie together, then it probably just hasn't come across my TV. An example of that being, I just saw She's the Man for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
That's one I kind of miss. So that's another one of those like I grew up on the Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks era of rom-coms.
Sure.
And then rom-coms have not been like they had this heyday in like the 90s and maybe a little into the early 2000s, and they're just, you don't see a lot now.
Yeah, they go through fits and starts. And a lot of the ones that have been more recent, like it'll be a premise that I really like, and then the movie comes out and it's rated R because there's like 70 F words in it. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound like, a whimsical good time. That sounds like something that's going to make me cringe a little bit because it's not fun in the same way as something that's a little bit tamer in that particular respect. So that's like most of the more recent rom-coms we've had, I think, have kind of fallen more into that bucket. And there's definitely an audience for that. I'm just not that audience.
No, and I'm the same way. So like, you know me, I do swear a little bit, but I feel like swearing should be something that's like a slap to the face or a punch to the nose. And I don't like it when it's just like everywhere with like punctuation. It drives me nuts.
Right. And like for me, especially if I'm watching something, how well it fits into character voice dictates how much it's bothering me. So if there's certain profanities that always make me cringe no matter what. But if you have a character that that like part of their character voice is the way that they're using profanity, I stopped noticing it pretty quick because it's like it's worked into their character voice well enough that it's not jarring in that way, versus if you have something that's otherwise relatively lighthearted and it's not very consistent with character voice, and you have characters just dropping F-bombs because they're shooting for an R rating, then it kind of makes me like flinch a little bit every time because I'm like, why is there so much of this character does not need this language in order to convey any aspect of who they are. It doesn't fit. And so then it becomes just irritating to me.
All right, so where are you? Because I am running. Are you in the
I have
community
no
center?
idea. I'm looking at you talking to Lewis, I think.
Oh, you're on a cutscene. Go ahead and skip it.
Oh, okay. I was just kind of clicking through and going like, oh, this seems interesting, but I couldn't actually see my character.
Gotcha. Yeah, I started a cutscene and then I skipped it because I didn't want it to be on the screen. And you must have been stuck on it. Like,
I was like,
oh my gosh, he's invisible.
Okay, now I'm back in front of the house.
All right, I'm gonna run down there because I don't want to get stuck out at night. But yeah, I feel that way. Like the Martian, like
I was thinking about the Martian.
yeah, it has that like F-bomb right on the first page. So I got that home and Corin picked it up and she's like, "Mom."
I had the exact same interaction, but the other way around. Because I loved that book, and I had mentioned that my mom found it at Costco or something, picked it up, read the first page, and was like, "Oh my!" But that was a good example of like so I'm actually really good at filtering out language when I read anyway, and so it doesn't tend to bother me as much on the page as it does when I hear it. But like Mark Watney is a great example of a character where like it fit his dialogue style so well that it was really easy to filter out. Versus which actually that made Project Hail Mary really interesting because there's almost no profanity in that book.
There isn't, is there? I kind of like didn't even notice that there wasn't, but there isn't.
I noticed because there's so much in The Martian, and so knowing it was the same author, it stuck out to me a little bit. I got about halfway through the book and I was like, I don't think this guy has sworn even once. That's really interesting because Mark Watney swears constantly.
He was a grade school or middle school teacher, I think,
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, of course he wouldn't have a potty mouth because he has still kids and he can get reported by the parents.
Yeah, it's like when you have a job like that, you kind of train yourself out of using it.
No, I am. You brought up Ryan Gosling. I'm still not sold on him on that casting. I can't buy him as that awkward of a nerd. And Ryland Grace is a very awkward nerd character in my head.
True. I mean, I don't mind him in the role particularly. I'm a little bit frustrated with the there's the alien reveal, but there's also like the context right from the jump is that it wasn't his choice to be on the ship, and that's like ended.
Yeah, he finds
that's
really
clear
late
in the trailer.
Did they?
Yeah, it's very clear in the trailer, and that's like the end of the book. And so I'm a little bit frustrated with that framing because I feel like that changes the context of the story.
I miss it. Like I watched the trailer, I somehow missed that they gave that reveal. I thought they were holding that back, but that like it's got to be a very.
It's pretty clear it comes down more to the way they structure the trailer. It's obvious that like he's both not an astronaut and also on the ship, at least tangentially against his will, based on the scenes that they've included. So they're not explicitly telling you he got knocked out and put on the ship, but they're very much kind of like laying the groundwork of it doesn't actually make sense for him to be the one in space. Which I feel I was a little bit surprised that they were making that as clear as they were from the trailers.
Yeah, and I got mad about the alien thing because for me that was a moment in that book where I stopped reading. Was like, what? We have aliens now?
Yeah. Oh, I was definitely surprised by that. I just had a cat.
That's my cat. Her name is Miss Mittens. I named her after Abigail's cat from Accidentally Supervillain because I wanted to.
Okay, now she's moving. I was like, why is she flat? She's like pancaked.
Yeah, the cat, if you have a cat, it'll just kind of wander around and do cat things.
Cute. What is this like dilapidated ruin here?
So this is the greenhouse. After a while, you can buy a repair of the greenhouse, and then you can plant plants out of season.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, let's do the whole tour. So we got this. This is the cave. And
I see that.
You can choose whether the cave has bats who drop fruit or mushrooms that grow. There's a choice, and then you can be either a mushroom farmer or get fruit from your bats.
Interesting.
Ooh, we should find the wizard's tower. Let's go do that.
There's a wizard's tower?
Yes.
I have questions about this universe.
There's so many things that don't make sense in this universe. And apparently there's an ongoing war against another empire. Because one of the characters has a PTSD story because he's been in the war.
Another empire? Our farm is in an empire?
Yeah, we're in one kingdom and there's another kingdom or something. Or I forget it's a republic. I don't know. It's some sort of it's a government.
Yeah, somehow I missed that Stardew had all of this lore.
It actually does, and there's like a war between the dwarves and whatever Krobus is. We'll meet Krobus later.
Okay.
Well, probably not today, but you know, like if you keep playing, you'll meet Krobus. I will say I do appreciate your Stardew Valley outfit. Actually, you look like you. This is exactly people listening. This is exactly what Bree looks like. In fact, in real life, she's 8-bit.
A lot of times when I do character creation, my default, for whatever reason, my first attempt is always to get like roughly my hair. And I don't know, I don't usually end up super creative with like, I'm going to do something radically different. I'm like, I'm going to try and create me in this character creator. I don't know why that's always my first instinct, but that's what I end up with.
Ever since I started playing with my girls, I just give my character gray hair and then like go full into being old because I know they're just going to make fun of me for it anyway.
That's adorable. And this is a super cute tower.
Yeah, the wizard won't let you in until you meet him later, but yeah, there's a wizard. His ex-wife is the witch, and she will sometimes curse your farm.
Oh, that's hilarious. Now there's magical divorce drama.
Yes, and also the shopkeeper owner, Pierre, and his wife, they have a daughter. Or do they? Because everybody thinks that the daughter is actually the wizard's.
Interesting. Squirrel!
Get that
That's been interesting. I was actually going to ask you because, like, you're in a different state, but you're also here on the East Coast. Has it been your experience since coming to the East Coast from the PNW that the squirrels here are dramatically more suicidal?
I'm trying to think how Oregon squirrels were because you would get a lot of dead squirrels in Oregon. They would go, scooting across the road. But yeah, I do feel like I see more dead squirrels here. And the deer.
I see so many more deer here than I used to. And my parents lived in somewhat rural in Washington, so we definitely saw deer. But I had to be really careful of the deer because they would jump into the road and stuff. Whereas the squirrels were usually in somebody's yard. I didn't have to worry about them. Versus here, the deer are super chill. They're everywhere, but they're super chill. They're just hanging out in people's yards and they're completely ignoring you. But the squirrels they'll be like, ooh, a car is coming. I'm going to go jump right in front of its tires.
So the thing that I've noticed here in West Virginia that we didn't have on the West Coast that we have here, besides lightning bugs, which are like my favorite thing ever. Like you don't get those.
Yes, yeah.
Is groundhogs. They're just sitting on the side of the road here, and they're like fat, tailless beavers. And I'm like, look at you.
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen any groundhogs. We have turtles on some of the highways here. There will be turtles crossing the road.
Oh, I hate the turtles who cross the road. They make me so anxious.
I know.
I've been saving as many as I can.
There's only one highway where I've seen them consistently, but apparently I just found a geode.
Yeah, you can take that to the blacksmith and he'll break it up. Here, we come up. If you go map, which is hit M, you'll see me on the map.
You cut off right after the word map.
Oh, hit map, and then you should be able to see me on the map.
And map is
M.
Somewhere logical, I'm sure. M. Yes, logical indeed. Okay, so you're slightly north of me. The map is much bigger than I was expecting it to be.
We should go meet the blacksmith. His name's Clint. He's kind of awkward and cute. Some people think he's creepy. I don't mind him so much.
I thought when we were in the, we were talking about something else, I didn't mention it, but when we were in the pub earlier, there was like a very Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire walking around.
I'm trying to think which one of that.
With the emo hair.
Oh, that's, oh gosh, Sebastian. I like him. He's a comic book nerd. He plays D&D. He's a computer programmer. Oh, down here, this is Elliot. He's the local writer.
The one fishing?
Nah, I was just introducing you to Elliot. Elliot is the writer.
Oh, okay. I was like, I saw the long hair, and I didn't realize that was a dude.
Yeah, that's Elliot. He's
got Fabio hair.
Yes,
I just clicked on him.
So if you come over here, you're gonna find the library and the blacksmith.
The library and the what?
And the blacksmith.
And the blacksmith. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. Did I see that you picked a book up off the beach earlier?
Yeah, if you're digging, sometimes you will randomly unearth a book, and then it joins the collection in the library.
That's cool. There's a book missing here. That reminds me of, did you ever, I feel like I've asked you this before, did you ever play the Nancy Drew games?
I've played like 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. I bought my brother for Christmas, I think last year maybe, a mug that just says in like big block letters, "It's locked."
Oh, I hate that. Yeah,
Because we always used to play those together. So clicking on that and it was like, it said missing, and then it was like, there's a book missing here. I was like, yeah, thanks, Nancy.
I used to like I played the one set in Japan, the Shadow's Edge. I played the one where
That's right. We have talked about that.
Yeah, there's some good ones there.
I really like it, but every so often the really old ones go on sale on Steam for like $1. So I own most of them on Steam now, if not all of them. And so sometimes I'll go back and play some of my old favorites. I really liked Danger on Deception Island, which is tangentially about saving the whales.
I have one. There's one where she's in Hawaii and she's with the Hardy Boys. Which one's that?
Yes. Creature of Kapu Island or something?
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a creature. Kapu is definitely in the title, and I think it's creature. But yeah, the Hardy Boys ones are always fun. I also like Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. It has the Hardy Boys in it.
I was gonna say I based Nissa Glass kind of around point and click adventure games, so I played a lot of those back in the day.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, there's a couple that I missed the boat on. Like I just recently got on like significant sale on Steam. The Mist games. Because that was one of those things I was aware of, but I kind of missed the boat on that originally. So now I have them. So if at some point I am able to summon the energy, I will go explore that particular universe.
So I will tell you, if anybody ever asks me what fantasy world I would like to visit, I always say Mist because the chances of dying are pretty low. But you get cool puzzles.
That's a good reason.
You get cool puzzles, and everything is really pretty and relaxing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I had posted I had posted yeah, I think this was yesterday. Oh yeah, the power was out at the house, and so I was working from a local coffee shop, and then the coffee shop closed, so I went to Panera. And when I was at Panera, somebody's ringtone was the Mockingjay whistle from Hunger Games. And every time it went off, like my head like snapped up like I was a sleeper agent being activated. Because that was my notification noise when I was like 19. So I kept going like, wait, I know this. I don't know whose phone it was. But anyway, I posted on Threads about that because I thought it was funny. And somebody replied to me that they thought that I had typed Pan Am, which is, the country in Hunger Games, instead of Panera. And I was like, yeah, unfortunately, I have not yet developed the ability to jump inside of my books. And then I thought about it for a second, and I was like, or fortunately, I don't want to go visit Pan Am. That sounds like a terrible time.
Yeah, there's certain ones you just don't want to visit. You're like, no, I'm cool. Like Middle Earth, depending where you get dropped off, you could have a really good time. Like Rivendell, Lothlorien, the Shire, obviously, great time. You might, it might be a little confusing at first, but I think I could adjust to living in the Shire.
Totally.
Then you've got like the Hunger Games or Game of Thrones or like a lot of them.
You're
Nope.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, like Song of Ice and Fire, any of that stuff, like that's a terrible time for pretty much everybody involved.
And I think that's why I will never gravitate towards dark fantasy, is because I want my fantasy worlds to be someplace I would actually want to visit, because that's part of the fun.
Yeah, 100%. I think that I've read some stuff where like I don't know if it would necessarily end up in that. I think most of what is kind of like the modern version of dark fantasy is something I haven't quite delved into yet. But there's certainly some stuff I've read where like they're really intense, and like I wouldn't want to be in that character's shoes necessarily, but the world itself is still something that is inherently really, really interesting or intriguing. I've read a couple of things that like kind of delve into the whole idea of like, the seasonal courts of the Fae or whatever. And so even if like everybody's at war and all of that is awful, the world itself is still fascinating, and there's an element of whimsy there that makes me go like, okay, I would totally want to go explore this. Like maybe not when they're in the middle of a war, but otherwise, like this would totally be a cool world to go poking around in.
Yeah, and I think we shouldn't lose that for fantasy, because that's part of the escapism. Even in sci-fi, like Star Wars and Star Trek both have worlds that, generally speaking, you wouldn't mind visiting.
Yeah, and I think half the time they get into trouble, it's because of something they did and not something inherently dangerous about the world.
They do get themselves in quite a bit of trouble. And I say this
Yeah, I was like,
as
what am
a Voyager girl.
Oh, I love Voyager. But yeah, my dad's a next gen guy, and so my like kind of my first ever exposure to science fiction, I think, was watching Star Trek: The Next Gen with my dad.
Run back home. Do you want to pass out? It's getting late. In game.
Oh yeah. I was like totally not paying attention to the clock. Yep, that would be 1:20. Run home. Don't run into the cat.
Yeah, the cat will sometimes block your path if he's strategically placed, which can be irritating.
Like, you're in my way. I don't want to. Oh, now the cat's on my bed.
Yeah, you can still get into it. We are not making very much money. We are very bad farmers.
It's like, we're sort of foraging. I was like, I don't know. I know how to get stuff off of the ground, and we harvested. What were they? Turnips or something?
Yes, we harvested parsnips.
Parsnips, that's right. Oh, look, there's more parsnips. So we put things in the ground, and they grew, and that's part of farming.
I have a potato.
I love how when you find something, the character just like raises above their head, like, I am the champion, I found the thing.
We're so proud of our potatoes.
Honestly, who wouldn't be?
Let's use this. Okay.
So we did say we were going to stream for about an hour, and we have done an hour and a half. So.
Oh wow, that went fast.
I know. I just noticed this looking at wow. Look at it. But it's fun though. We've got a farm, and we are epic farmers, and we have so far not died. You can't really die in this game. If you go into the mines and actually like tangle with monsters, which is a thing you can do later, they will sometimes beat you to unconscious, and then you wake up in the doctor's office.
Well, it's like I didn't know I could pass out either, so I'm learning all sorts of things.
Yes, there's a lot of things you can do this game.
It reminds me of years ago, my brother was like, I'm going to show you how Minecraft works. And so he walked me through the basics of Minecraft, and he had me like build a little house. And he was like, oh, you got to make sure the house is done before nighttime because like the zombies are going to come for you or something. I don't remember. And so I built the house, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm safe now. Right. And then it turns out whatever was coming for me at night, whether they were zombies or something else, can apparently break through doors. And so I was not actually safe in the house he had made me spend all that time building. I had to like go underground somehow to protect myself. And I was like, what is this? I was very disillusioned because I had made a whole house. And then the house got torn down by zombies or whatever they were. So I was not a fan of that. I got no prior warning.
No, this game, it's very cozy, and like you can't really die in it, and the worst thing that happens is you get your pocket picked, or you pass out and then have to go back to bed.
Which pocket picking is exactly the sort of petty crime I would expect from a place like this. Like, we don't have big crime, you just have little crime.
Okay, so we know what's gonna kill
Look at us go, we're clearing this land. We should call it our land. Right.
you okay? Haley? Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Are you here?
I didn't realize for like the first couple of, quote unquote days we were running around that I had a tool to clear the grass with.
The sea.
It's like, I guess the grass. I guess the grass is just there for texture, and we wade through it.
So if you build a silo, when you clear the grass, it will make hay, and then you can feed it to your animals, which you can get later.
Oh. Yeah, I thought when we were running around, we ran past some cows at one point.
Yeah, Marnie sells cows, chickens, sheep, and rabbits.
Can you like harvest the rabbits for Angora, or
The
are they
rabbits
just?
the rabbits drop wool, and they also will sometimes drop a rabbit's foot, which I have no idea how that works.
Okay, I have questions about the rabbits dropping wool.
I can decide.
Yeah, both rabbits and sheep drop wool.
The sheep makes sense. With rabbits, it would be a slightly different fiber. Like, it's not that they can't drop fiber. I'm a little confused that it's wool.
The rabbit's feet is what really confuses me, honestly. Like, how are they dropping feet?
I mean, in theory, you know where they're getting the feed. It's just that they have such a limited number of those before that becomes untenable.
You were too.
Maybe they're like going out and hunting other rabbits and like what's it called? Oh, you passed out.
I passed out again. At least this time I noticed before it was going to happen. You could I just woke up with the dandelion above my head because I was about to feed myself.
I was gonna say maybe the rabbits are doing a Watership Down thing where they're fighting and murdering other rabbits at night.
That is such a weird book.
It is. I like it, but it is very odd.
It's a lot.
Have you ever read Plague Dogs, which is one of his other ones?
I don't think so. Watership Down is a book my dad really likes, so I read it when I was younger. But I don't think I've read anything else by that author.
Plague Dogs is interesting. It's about two dogs who escape a lab where they're being experimented on.
Huh. I just opened the thing to see if there was any food in here, and there's a little bit, but there's also a gold breastplate.
Yeah, I found that. You can put it on if you want. Here.
Is that like to go fight the aforementioned monsters?
This one's just decorative.
No.
There, I put it on. See, now I'm gold.
You look very shiny. much Percy Jackson vibes.
There we go.
Are these little sprouts? So like this one here, and then there's one down here. Are these like the trees regrowing?
Yeah, the trees will regrow after a little bit.
Okay. I wondered about that because they look like itty bitty trees. I was like, I wonder if the trees are growing back.
Yeah, you will eventually get your trees back. There's a thing you can get that stops stuff from growing on your farm after you've cleared it. But I kind of like it.
I mean, it gives you like something to do to keep it up, and like presumably you need those resources, right?
Yeah, there's also the resources everywhere. That you can go in the woods, and all these trees grow back after you cut them down.
It's so funny to have like all of this looks so cutesy, and then like over here you just have like a traditional like asphalt road just like running through the middle of the otherwise idyllic scene.
Well, there's a broken bus, and once you get it repaired, you can go to the desert.
What does one do in the desert?
There's a mine there you can do, and then there is a little shopkeeper whose name is Sandy.
I like you said there's a mine in the desert, and immediately the thing that popped into my head was the giant open mouth from the beginning of Aladdin.
It is called Skull Cavern, and it is pretty dramatic. So
Oh, there's a random old dude.
that's Linus. He lives out here.
More power to him.
I gave him a horseradish. He liked it. You can give them gifts to get friendship with them. The villagers.
Right, because there's like a social aspect to this game, right?
Yes, and if you build it up to a certain amount of hearts, with the ones who are considered bachelors or bachelorettes, you can actually propose to them, and then they move in with you.
That's cute. What is this this Ewok altar?
So there's teleporting things that you can do in games. That's a teleport point.
Well, that's
So-
kind of handy, so that you don't have to run everywhere all the time.
Yeah, and eventually you can also get a horse. This is the mine.
Okay. Yeah, I was seeing the little pink bits and wondering about that.
No! Why did you go?
Okay, this is another cutscene.
Yeah, you can skip it. He'll just tell you about the mine, how there's dangerous monsters in there. So, like, you go down here.
Oh, I was like, I didn't even see the ladder, and I was like, where did you go?
And you break rocks until you find the next way down. So you just found the route down.
I get more ore and stone.
I don't like doing this mine until you've gotten enough money to. Oh, he'll kill you! Don't let him die! Kill you! Hold on. I don't like
Oh,
doing
I
that.
have to use this. I have to use the sword, don't I?
You can also kill them with the pickaxe and stuff.
Does it just take more time?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it was going very well for me.
I don't like coming down here till I have enough money to buy the big backpack so that I don't fill up my inventory in 2 minutes. But it's kind of cool. And the monsters down here will kill you if they can.
So that there's a little green sledge monster and evil mosquitoes.
Yeah, there's other ones. There's like skeletons on higher levels and stuff like that.
I'm getting RuneScape vibes again.
Oh, you can go break
Oh,
open
that was
all
quick.
these.
That was quick.
You can go break open all. Oh, hold on.
All of these cases.
Yeah, you can break those open. Ah!
Whoop. Stop attacking me!
Die, goo!
That made a horrible noise when you killed it. My energy is getting pretty low already.
Yeah, let's head back to the farm. My inventory's full anyway.
Oh, that's kind of nice. You just have to say leave the mine, and it doesn't make you go all the way back through all the things.
Yeah.
Can you ride in the minecart?
When you fix it, that's also a later achievement.
Okay. It's kind of cool that there's like a bunch of different things to do, and it's not exclusively like a just do the farming all the time thing.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite chill games. Ooh, I should show you my real farm real quick. Let's get back to thing, and then I'll show you my real farm. You'll be very impressed. It's an impressive farm.
Yeah, I mean, you know your way around, so I'm guessing that you put a lot of investment into it.
I do not even want to look at how many hours I've spent in this game.
I noticed that it'll tell you like how many hours you spent in a save, and I was like, oh, that's a dangerous thing. I don't want to know that number. It's like Steam does that too. It'll be like, oh, you've spent this many hours playing Disney Dreamlight Valley or whatever.
I got a Steam breakdown a couple years ago, and it tells you the themes of games you play the most. On top of my list was cats, because I played a bunch of cat games.
Honestly, could it be anything else?
And I wouldn't want it to be any other way. Yeah, if you enter your bed, you can do a save, and then I'll exit, and then I'm going to show you my real farm real quick, just because it is very, very large and impressive.
I was provided very little.
And a more productive money day that time, it seems.
Yeah, I sold a bunch of stuff from the mines.
You have 44?
We yearn for the mines.
Do the emote when we get out. Do the emote when we get out. Do the emote. You see.
Okay.
This is gonna really show a lot about you. But I only have to play with you.
I I'm going to shoot you a code in a second to join. So go back to the, like, where are you now? Because what happens when I log off? Are you still in the game?
No.
No, it told me that you had ended it, so now I'm back on the main menu and I can click co-op again.
Yeah, go ahead and click join. I'll get you the co-op code.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to put it in chat.
Feline acres.
Yes, this is my place.
Oh, it's gonna make me redo my character. Give me a second.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I was like, I liked the hair I have, but it's gonna take me a second to find it. I think that's right. Okay.
I will give you a whole tour.
Oh, I have to. I was like, why won't it let me go? Because I haven't renamed myself. There we go. I received parsnips.
Yay!
Deja vu.
My farm is very cluttered and crowded, though. I will give you a warning.
Because I have to get away from Evelyn. Okay. Oh wow. It's like I came out of a guest cabin and there's a lot going on. So are these apiaries?
Yep, I have beehives. They make honey, and you plant the flowers next to them, and then you get flower-flavored honey. This is my slime hut.
Cool.
Probably shouldn't go over there because the slimes might attack you.
Did you say slime hut?
Yes, I'm farming slimes.
What did the slimes give you?
Slime.
Well, that tracks. What do you use the slime for? Is that just a moneymaker somehow?
You can sell it, and it's used in a couple recipes.
Okay.
This is my greenhouse, and I grow stuff here.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's little, like, preserve jars you can make jam with fruit and stuff.
Neat. This is like closer to what I expected. Like, there's a lot of like real farming technology at work here, which is really interesting to see.
Yep.
Like irrigation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got sprinklers, and I've got my pets. My horse.
And a horse.
You can pet the pets.
Aw, that's his name, Pippin.
Yeah, I give them all random names.
Are some of those like lizards?
Yes, those are my baby dinosaurs, which I farmed eggs for in the mines.
Your baby dinosaurs, that's hilarious.
And I have a very large farm of many, many crops.
And a scarecrow, multiple scarecrows. You've got that one this one looks like Jack Skellington.
Yeah, they have seasonal skeletons, or not scarecrows for each holiday. So there's like holiday ones, and then there's some special ones you get from certain events.
Like this one looks like Elphaba. Yeah, you weren't kidding when you said it was big. You've got a lot going on here.
Yeah, I've got fish ponds. I've got like three barns and 2 coops. Up here, come see my house.
Oh man, that's so much bigger on the inside.
It is.
So we know what this phone is.
Here's one of my children.
And a Stetson.
Yes, you can put hats on your children. It's hilarious. There's my other child.
Got an aquarium.
I Apparently, I blocked myself off. I can't go this way because of my huge bear statue.
I saw.
Everybody needs one.
Do you see how mad your game is?
But yeah, this is my farm.
Man, so many things.
There's also a movie theater in town. You can go to see movies now because I've unlocked that. You can go to the desert. And you can go to Ginger Island, which is like a tropical island edition.
Interesting. Gotta skip the cutscene. People want to talk to me.
Oh no. Don't talk to me.
There we go. It's like, I do not wish to be perceived. Okay, there's a lot of like little blobs here.
Oh, I forgot. They're probably going to attack you, aren't they? Do they? Yeah, we need you out of here. Hold on. So I have.
It's like trouble with tribbles.
It is exactly that. So I have a ring of slime charming, so they don't attack me. So I put a slime
naturally.
So I put a slime incubator in town, and I just hatched a bunch of slime, so they run all over. And they won't attack the villagers, but they will talk to the villagers, which is hilarious. They'll like say, "Hi, Marnie." I feel
So they're
bad.
autonomous.
I feel bad because
They're sentient autonomous blobs.
they are, and the problem is, every so often there will get to be so many of them, they'll start to slow the frame time of the game. So I have to.
I literally just watched them give birth to one.
Yeah, so I have to go in and they breed. So I have to go in and slaughter them every so often to stop them from just like crashing the game. And I feel bad about it.
That was so funny though, because like one of them had a heart and the other one had an exclamation mark, and the one with the exclamation mark ran away, and then got caught by the one with the heart, and then they both had hearts, and then suddenly there was a baby one.
Yeah, you see the little ones over here. This is the baby right here. So I think the ones with the thing on the head are the males, and the ones with the no thing on their head are the females.
Sure. Fair enough.
I better get you out of here before they eat you, though.
I like that you were just like, well, I can protect myself, so I'm just going to fill town with little monsters because it's entertaining.
It is hilarious. You can do other stuff like leave random decorations in other people's houses, too.
Yes, with all the extra room you have for random decorations.
I don't have enough room in my house because there's too much room for decoration. I've got all these chests, though, with stuff in them.
Interesting.
But anyway, though, I think we should probably call it for tonight because it's getting late and I've got to put my girls to bed soon.
Yes, yeah. Time slips away.
But thank you for joining me here in this magical farmland with my many slimes.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. It was fun to run around.
Awesome. Oh no, Corin's been in the chat and I didn't even notice. Says, hi, I'm a bit fan. I am a fan. I am a fan. I'm a really big fan. Disliked. I lost my fanship. You're so evil and mean. I wasn't even paying attention.
Children are your best supporters until they're not.
Oh yes, yes. This child she's very moody. But anyway, thank you for everybody who joined us because apparently we did have people watching us this time. I'm kind of surprised.
Well, it was good to be watched, even though we were not aware.
Yes, next time I'm willing to figure out a way to pay attention to the chat so that Corin doesn't apparently lose her fanship.
Well, at least if you were going to lose the fanship of somebody, it's somebody that you live with and have the opportunity to win back.
Yeah, she's kind of stuck with me for at least another. Oh gosh, she's going to be 18 in January.
Ugh, but time is a construct.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, if anybody is listening, you can check out the description for Bree's website, and there's also my Kickstarter in there, which I very much want people to back. It's fully funded, but if we get some stretch goals, that makes me happy. So thank you, everybody.
Woo, stretch goals!
Yay! All right, and